Hi, my friends. Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather. Hey, it's a Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. A lot to get into in this video. Left-hand side of your screen, that's going to be the big weather headlines I'll be covering in today's daily video. On the bottom of your screen, that's our information hub. The ticker is going to be scrolling the impactful weather across all the Caribbean and the Bahamas. So look where you live, look for an area of interest, and if there is an advisory or a watch or a warning or a marine statement, you'll see that. I'll get into the impacts with that as well. Of course, we got your 5-day forecast, and we'll talk more about the rain and your marine forecast coming up as we move through the video. Let's start off with our first weather headline of the day, and that's going to be this spin in the Western Atlantic. Just like we had yesterday, this is not a tropical low. It is a mid-level circulation coming off an old frontal boundary, but just like yesterday, it's still promoting some gusty winds, some kicked up sea conditions, and passing showers, heavier rain, and some thunderstorm activity as well. All the numbers that you see are wind gusts in miles an hour. Now, you get as far north in the Bahamas as Grand Bahama and the Abacos and Walker's Key. It's been a quieter day, a couple of passing showers developing off of the western tip of Grand Bahama near Freeport and West End, and trying to make a run back west towards the east coast of Florida from West Palm all the way back down towards Miami and Homestead. It is a weather day in the southern half of Florida, including the Keys. The wet season has returned with the sea breeze showers and storms across Florida with elevated winds and sea conditions as well. Going to be a wetter forecast for places like Miami and Key West. Now back for Andros. Look at the showers developing here. I'm going to throw on the lightning data as well, and you're going to see some lightning developing right along the west coast of Andros and pushing west, trying to make a run back towards northern Cuba and portions of the Florida Keys. Because they're moving from east to west, it means we don't have as much rain right now for Cat Island and Eleuthera. Nassau, New Providence, again, a couple of scattered showers here and there, a passing band of rain. There is the opportunity for some localized heavier downpours, which could lead to some flooding in some spots. So keep that in mind. There is a thunderstorm advisory in effect right now for the central side of the Bahamas to go along with some rip current statements and some elevated sea conditions as well. These scattered showers and storms are really beginning to ramp up over Cuba. You can see that moisture coming in on the southwest side of our counterclockwise spin. Scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder for portions of the southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, including Grand Turk. Not as concentrated as yesterday, but still near enough this center of low pressure where we could absolutely still see a embedded shower or thunderstorm. A lot of lift in the atmosphere still, so the atmosphere is still primed to produce some extra rain. Not as much today for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, but there's still that chance. I can't rule out a passing shower over Grand Cayman, a little Cayman, a Cayman bracket. You see just a little bit of lightning just west of Grand Cayman earlier in the day. We're actually getting a few rumbles of thunder to develop again in the western parishes of Jamaica, especially Westmoreland and Hanover parishes, places like St. Elizabeth and St. James. They're going to try and make a run south and east. They're going to try and get towards the Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town areas, but still places like Montego Bay and the Lucy and Negril and Savlamar. When I zoom in a little bit more towards Cambridge, again, watch the lightning being produced here, a little bit more, even towards Black River and Santa Cruz. And again, all this activity trying to push off towards the south and to the east. You guys live in Jamaica, let me know in the comments section below if you've seen some of this rain and thunderstorm activity today. The large wave and strong wind advisory now back into effect for the Pedro and Morant Bank areas. So my fishermen, please keep that in mind with the elevated sea conditions. Again, a lot of thunderstorm activity over Cuba. That's going to try and make a run towards the northern side of Jamaica, but more than likely miss that island, but get back over to the peninsula of Haiti, towards Lacaille. You can see some scattered showers and thunderstorms developing there. Even Port-au-Prince, they've had some gusty winds. They could pick up some rainfall on this Tuesday. Still have our flood advisories in effect for portions of the Dominican Republic, including the Santo Domingo area. Not as many areas of the DR today, but still locally heavy downpours. Some of the high elevations could produce the opportunity for some flooding, especially in some low-lying spots. You want to talk about some wind for today, take a look at the breeze right now in portions of Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. So that's the hold on to your hats headline. Winds have been very fresh across a lot of our area on this Tuesday, elevating some of the sea conditions as well. Going to bring on the visible satellite imagery here. It's just a little bit easier to see the easterlies here in this part of the world. And you can see those southeast winds coming in. 30 to 35 mile an hour pretty consistent winds right now for St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John, Vieques and Culebra, San Juan, Aguadilla. Not as much rain this far off towards the east. I'm going to bring on the live radar out of Puerto Rico. A little bit more concentrated up towards Aguadilla. A couple of scattered showers, Ulti Alto, on over towards San Juan. We had a little bit of rain in the Abacoa area earlier today. We still have the small craft advisory for the offshore waters of the Atlantic north of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. So just churned up conditions with these fairly brisk winds. Passing showers, not enough rain in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico today where I'm concerned about any flooding, but maybe to cool things off a little bit with that breeze. And of course, you guys live in these areas. Please let me know in the comment section below what you guys have been seeing. On over towards the Antilles. It's been a pretty fresh wind for today. We've had some strong winds here. I'm going to loop this up. There's that one bad frame. Apologize for that, but I just want to show you the St. Bart's, Antigua areas, 25, 30 mile an hour winds from the day. And that's going to be a situation that's going to continue here the next several days. The fresh easterlies, there's a little bit more moisture content. Rain chances overall are slightly higher. Still not going to add up to a lot in most areas, but if there's a couple of spots that could get a little bit more rain, it's from Montserrat, especially back down towards Guadalupe and Dominica, because when I zoom out a little bit and I put this back into motion, we still have our mid-level southwest winds coming over the island. So the low-level easterlies mixing in with the southwest mid-level winds, producing the opportunity for some additional rain. Again, Montserrat, but especially back down towards Dominica where it's been breezy, Guadalupe, and Martinique. It's more scattered, the Windward Islands, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, but a couple of passing showers, Barbados towards places like Bequia, Carriacou could see a couple of scattered showers for today. We're trying to get a little bit more rain over Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of these islands, as you see the information scroll down below, have some kind of swell advisories or marine statements out. That does include the Barbados area again for today, and a lot of the ABC Islands. Man, oh man, what another windy day across the ABC Islands. Oranjestad today, nearly a 40 mile an hour breeze. Willemstad, about a 30 plus mile an hour wind. Not a lot of rain, some elevated sea conditions, rip current risk for our beachgoers. Otherwise a beautiful, quiet day. Most of the moisture in the mainland is going to stay south of the ABC Islands. At least a little bit of cloud coverage could skirt southern Bonaire and Curacao, perhaps bringing an isolated shower there, but that would be about it. Nothing isolated about the rain in Panama and Costa Rica on this Tuesday. We now have some flood issues for Costa Rica. Again, a couple of inches of rain, maybe up to 50 millimeters on a daily basis in these spots. You get a 3-day total in that 100 to 150 millimeter range, and now you're talking about enough rain where it's causing some problems there. So that moisture train with our monsoon trough and our broad area of low pressure off the South American coastline still producing the ample moisture here. Again, it hasn't drifted much to the north as of yet, but it is nice to see a few rumbles of thunder developing just west of San Pedro Sula. Most of northern Honduras, including the Bay Islands, coastal Guatemala and Belize, you guys aren't going to get any rain for today. Unfortunately, it's more about the heat. If I bring on the current temperatures out here in Fahrenheit, look at the bake, guys. Triple-digit heat, western sides of the Yucatan. Cancun, Cozumel, not a horrible day for the beachgoers, but it's starting to get warm again back towards San Ignacio, Belize. Nearly triple-digit Fahrenheit heat, mid and upper 90s here before any cooling shower thunderstorms develop. So again, still a situation where I expect the majority of the rain across their area to be in association with this non-tropical mid-level low, which is going to take a little bit of time to cool off. And on the northeast side of that, look at Bermuda today with daytime highs that are just going to be in the mid-70s. So friends, as we move on through the rest of the video, I'm going to ask you guys to take a quick second and hit that subscribe button if you haven't as of yet. You want these daily forecast videos, I appreciate you. Also, of course, make sure you like the video as well. I don't know if we're ever going to use this animation again, but why not? Like and subscribe. Please tell your family and friends. I really appreciate that. Again, hopefully you guys are enjoying all the new content here at Meteo Mundo, all the changes that we've made. So now, if you wouldn't mind as well, send me a picture or video, mymeteomundo@gmail.com. Let me know where you guys are viewing from. Send me that picture or video. Of course, include your name and where that picture or video is from. If you're going to want to send me a video, keep it under 20 seconds, but I'd love to help tell the weather story in your area. And one of the big stories for the week ahead is going to be the return of the Saharan dust. When you look at this dust layer coming off of the West African coast this weekend and into next week, it's going to have much more of a westerly push. It's going to be more concentrated, and it's going to get deeper into the Caribbean as we get into this time next week. So this could suppress rain chances, bring more haze into the Caribbean, and push it farther west. So those with respiratory issues, I'll be monitoring that situation. But of course, any kind of tropical waves we're talking about this time of the year, on the northern side of those waves are deeply impacted by this big layer of dust and the drier air associated with it. So they're really not big factors in our weather for us here. So I'm going to bring on the marine advisories. I'm going to bring back on our weather headlines here. And again, the other story is that the Saharan dust is getting worse. Now, it's relative, but I do expect that concentration to be more prolific over the next several days. And when I show you guys, well, really next week is the most important time frame. When I take off the weather headlines and again show you this drier air, look when I swing back over off of the African coastline, we're starting to get a little bit more concentration, but that's not even it. It's still building right now on coastal areas, and we'll be pushing a little bit farther west as we get into next week. Okay, you guys can clearly see your marine forecast now at the bottom of your screen. Many elevated sea conditions over the next few days. So let's get into the next weather headline, and that is going to be our rain outlook. Before we have any more concentrations of Saharan dust, where do I expect us to have the best opportunity for scattered showers and some thunderstorms over the next 5 days? Well, let's look at that. Going to bring up the model, put that into motion for you guys. The first area we'll talk about is our spin in the Western Atlantic. It's still going to be a feature to promote scattered showers and some thunderstorms at least through Thursday, especially on the eastern side of the Bahamas, then the central and southeast Bahamas and portions of Turks and Caicos. Places like Exuma and Long Island and Cat Island, maybe as far north as Andros and Eleuthera and New Providence, including, of course, the Nassau area, will have a better chance for showers relative to what we typically see in late May. You get up towards Grand Bahama and the Walker's Key area, will be a slightly drier forecast. We're going to just see things thin out a little bit from north to south. Additional scattered heavier rain for Cuba, portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Again, flood concerns here over the next 24 to 48 hours. Slightly higher rain chances in Jamaica as well. Still favoring western parishes, Westmoreland, Hanover parishes, but maybe a little bit more rain towards places like St. Catherine and St. Andrew parishes, even St. Thomas, the southeast side of the island, but still western areas, your better rain chances compared to places towards the east. But everyone at least has the opportunity. A few scattered showers over the Cayman Islands as well. Again, some locally heavy rainfall, western sides of the DR, higher elevations could cause some problems for lower elevation areas, and some of that rain is likely to make its way over the higher elevations and produce additional potential heavier rain towards the weekend and early next week on the Haitian side of the island. I'm expecting the scattered showers to continue across the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Anegada, Roatan, Tortola, Virgin Gorda, St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Nothing that's going to be very concentrated, brisk winds. That's going to be the big story. Sea conditions elevated, rip current risk elevated, but such fast moving showers are not going to drop a lot of rain in any one location, so I'm not concerned about flooding here. Same situation as well over the northern side of the Antilles, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbuda, Antigua, Montserrat, mainly passing showers. Again, Montserrat today south, slightly better rain chances for more concentrated rain because the showers could be a little bit slower to move across the island, producing a little bit local heavier downpours, but still most areas will be just fine. Guadeloupe, Dominica, and Martinique, and then we're back to the more brisk easterlies beginning tomorrow. Still elevated sea conditions over Barbados. Wind-swept rain moving through from time to time. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Hopefully a few more showers for Grenada, TNT. Look, many of you guys in the comment section below have let me know, Rusty, we're still high and dry. I get it. These showers that are coming through, they're not hitting all parts of the island. There are some areas that are just more rain shadowed than others. The windward sides have a better chance for the showers. The western sides of the islands are typically a little bit drier with this flow. But I understand the situation. We're not getting rain everywhere, and hopefully those that have been dry and parched will get a few more showers, but not everyone is going to get that luxury over the next 5 days. The ABC Islands is an area that I don't expect a lot of rain. The winds are going to be elevated. Sea conditions will have to be monitored, but scattered showers, very, very limited here across that area. Still heavier rain, Panama, Costa Rica. The best chance for rain in Central America and portions of Mexico will actually be on the Pacific side over the next 5 days, with just a few isolated showers as far north as Honduras. But the Bay Islands will likely be dry with just a couple of scattered showers in Belize and limited rain chances through most of the Yucatan. Good for Cancun and Cozumel, but we could use some cooling showers on the western side of the peninsula. All right, looking at rainfall totals over the next 5 days. Again, this mid-level spin is still our biggest feature to promote a few inches of rain. Places that I've already mentioned, Exuma and Cat Island, maybe even Rum Cay and San Salvador, portions of Cuba as well. Nice to see a little bullseye over central Jamaica, which could add up to more than an inch of rain. Heavier downpours across a lot of Hispaniola. Again, the southern side of this spin has the most moisture-laden air, so you're going to clearly see that. South of the spin, wetter weather. If the spin's here, the drier air coming in out of the north limits the rain chances. Then it gets picked up a little bit more over Cuba and portions of southern Florida. And then we just kind of follow the axis of easterlies across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, where again, additional pockets of heavier rain, lighter amounts along our eastern side, and we're just building in some heavier rain totals over Panama and Costa Rica. Those areas, including the Dominican Republic, those are my main concerns for the potential for the significant rainfall over the next 5 days. All right, so I'm going to drop off the marine issues here, and then we're going to get into the next weather headline, and that is tropical hype. Well, what do I mean about that? I'm going to go back over to our rainfall product. I'm going to drop off the headlines. I'm going to bring up our vorticity, which is the spin in the atmosphere. If you guys follow me over the last couple of years, you know I use this product as just kind of a marker for what does the spin in the atmosphere look like overall, you know, where we can kind of take a look at areas of interest and how that could be playing out here as far as areas that could be promoting at least some broad spin. Now, this is not the low levels of the atmosphere, but it is a composite, all right? Let's talk about what I am looking at between now and the beginning of June. First of all, you guys have probably all heard that El Nino is returning in earnest, and I'm going to have a lot more about El Nino as we get closer to June 1st. But the bottom line is the Caribbean and the Atlantic Basin are absolutely shut off from any kind of tropical activity whatsoever. The conditions are just not favorable. What we would typically see is exactly what the spin product is picking up, the vorticity product, is that fronts coming off the United States East Coast can produce subtropical or hybrid systems, typically far enough north in the Atlantic where there's no real tropical characteristics with those, but you get a good spin, you get a big wind maker, a gale force wind maker here off the New England coastline and Bermuda, or you have these old frontal boundaries and a little bit of spin there, and these systems get pushed north and to the east into the north central Atlantic. The bottom line is they're all pulling away from our area this time of the year. Could be some elevated sea conditions for the Atlantic Basin, the Western Atlantic Basin, but you know, any of these systems towards the end of May, early June, you know, I buy the fact that this is where we're going to have the biggest spin. Now, several of you have already emailed me because you've seen some hype forecasts on Facebook about what might be developing in the southwest side of the Gulf. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, there's been no consistent signal from any model of any kind of actual development here into the first week of June in this area. Probably the only reason why you're seeing any of the hype forecasters bring that to light is that we're so shut off in the Caribbean and the Atlantic Basin, it's the only area where there would be any kind of potential that could impact any of our area, including the United States East Coast. Because anything that develops here in the Western Atlantic Basin is going to get pushed off towards the east and just be kind of a marine interest maker, maybe some heavier rainfall, but nothing certainly tropical. But you can clearly see through the first week of June that even into the southwest Gulf, there's not much happening at this point in time. Obviously, I'm going to continue to monitor the situation for you guys, but there's nothing that I have seen on a consistent basis here that is going to bring us any opportunity for something to talk about tropically, at least through the first few days of June, and more than likely even beyond that. So it's more about the localized showers and storms across our area, still kicking up the sea conditions. So for our mariners, keep that in mind. Wave heights are still going to be elevated through a big part of the area. Likely to see that come down a little bit next week as the Saharan dust comes into play. Winds might be pushed down just a little bit right now, but you can clearly see that next boundary coming off the United States East Coast could be pushing in a lot of wave action into the open waters of the Atlantic. That is going to need monitoring. Friends, I do appreciate you guys. Again, thanks for taking a quick second, hit that like button for me. If you have a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Thank you for helping to grow Meteo Mundo. I hope you're appreciating all the information you're now getting in these daily forecast videos. And if you do so, again, a quick way to do it, like and subscribe, become a member of the channel. You want to support that way as well, and tell your family and friends. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm back tomorrow with the latest forecast. Until then, take care. See you soon.